Nobody does it, Bennett. Yes, I've gone and said it. Movies and games, some things that are lame. Nobody does it, Bennett. Worst to the worst, right on. Is this the worst thing that I've ever seen? Worst to the worst, oh yeah. I feel so dirty that I'll never be clean. Worst of the worst.
Hello, and welcome to Nobody Does It, Bennett, and our first episode of Worst of the Worst, the show where we take what we feel is the worst film from a franchise, rate it, and put it on a list against other movies and other franchises. I am your host, The Greg Bennett Experience, and tonight with me for this one is Jeff. How are we tonight, Jeff?
Hey guys, how we doing?
I'm pretty good. I don't know what everyone else is doing, but yeah, we'll find out.
Well, hopefully they're listening in on this podcast.
Before we run through the movie, Jeff, what were your general thoughts on X-Men Origins Wolverine? And did they change over time?
No, none.
Yeah.
It was so bad. No. No, it was... There are parts of the story I didn't enjoy, but overall, it actually wasn't that bad. The reputation it's got doesn't make sense to me. There are parts that I definitely didn't enjoy, and, you know, those are probably parts that run alongside the comics, but still, I didn't really think it was as bad as most people have said.
Well, that's where you and I differ, because I think the reason why it's considered so bad now, like when it came out, it was like okay, and it got like, I'll go through the Rotten Tomato ratings shortly, especially the audience score wasn't that bad, but I think since the MCU's come out and shown you how to do a superhero film, when you go back and watch an X-Men film, especially not so good ones like X-Men Origins Wolverine, you notice just how unstructured it is. They don't really know how to set up the origin tale of him. They just kind of try to put enough story in there to go to the next action scene and do the next action scene and do the next action scene. I never really felt like, wow, this is like Wolverine's origins tale, and this is epic, and this is how he became the person he was. It just felt like it's another X-Men film. Some cool action things, but really it's forgettable. Right, yeah, so my thoughts obviously was, it was okay when it came out. When I saw it again now, I see all the reasons why it wasn't so good. I thought there were some good elements, like some of the acting was pretty good, as we're going to, and some of the story, like the origin story of how he becomes Wolverine, like some aspects of it I quite enjoy, but there's so much stuff in here that just makes me bang my head against the wall, like why?
Oh, totally, yeah.
Why add this?
When I say I enjoy it, I don't mean like it's one that I will continuously watch. I just mean that for the part of it, me watching it when I did, I enjoyed it, even though there were quite a few bits in it that got me a little annoyed.
Yeah, so it's watchable.
It's watchable. It's not. It also depends on how big a fan of Wolverine you are. I would think if you went into it knowing nothing about Wolverine, you'd probably enjoy it.
I think also if it wasn't for Hugh Jackman and Liev Schreiber in this, I think the movie would be even worse.
Oh yeah, definitely. Could you imagine that? Like you gotten used to huge Jack man as Wolverine, and then they bring in someone else. You'd be like, no. I think that would also affect how badly the movie went too, because you'd be disgusted at the fact that it's not huge Jackman. So
it'd be like when Dumb and Dumber did when Harry met Lloyd.
Oh, that's terrible. But in saying that, I don't think they could have done it with Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels anyway, because they would have been like 30, 40-year-olds playing 16-year-olds.
That would have been half the funny of it, isn't it? Half the funny. Some people might go, but Greg, Dark Phoenix was rated lower than X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yes, it is. My reasoning for this is I'm going to go and I'm going to split the X-Men franchises in half. So you've got the original X-Men team, and you've got the younger versions, like in First Class and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So Dark Phoenix will be eventually on here as the younger team's worst movie, even though Apocalypse came very, very close.
Yeah, it's For those two, it's a real toss-up because both of them are just not great.
The other reason, though, is I think X-Men Origins Wolverine is actually worse than Dark Phoenix. I've said it. I think so. I'd watch Dark Phoenix again before I'd watch X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah. I mean, I did like some elements to Dark Phoenix, but that's not one I'd watch again in a hurry.
X-Men Origins Wolverine did come out in 2009 too, Jeff, in 2009. So the same year as Street Fighter Return of Chun-Li, which we talked about because the other black IP is in that movie.
Yeah.
That was, a year to remember for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Before we go into Rotten Tomatoes and go into the film itself, Jeff. But if you'd like to write into the show, who knows, we might even read it on air. You can go to Nobody Does It Bennett's Facebook page, or you can hit us up on the Twitter at NobodyDIBennett. You can also email us at nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com. That's Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's. So yeah, if you want to get in contact with us, nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com.
And if you want to check out some extra stuff, you can look at the YouTube channel, NDIB Extras, and we throw out a little bit extra for everyone.
What have we got in that show as well, Jeff?
Basically, we will go through and do an actor's lucky dip, where we will pick out actors' names from a hat or a cup or whatever we've got on our hand.
A mug, maybe?
Yep, mug. And we will discuss our favourite movies of them. We'll also do video games, where we will discuss video games from the past and what we'd like to see if they were brought into the now. And also another one which I'm going to be doing soon will be the TV shows, discussing our favourite TV shows.
And they're kind of bite-sized episodes, not large ones?
Yeah, they're just quick, maybe 5-10 minute little bits for you to enjoy when you're having downtime from original universe.
Just little extras, if you will.
That's the one.
Right, so let's go into the movie, Jeff, as much as we probably don't want to.
Nobody does it, Bennett, He-Man.
Rotten Tomatoes gave us the score. The critics gave it 37%, and the audience gave it 58%. So the audience were pretty high-ish. Wasn't fresh, but it wasn't as low as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Richard Donner was an executive producer in this. He was the original director of Superman 1978. So I was like, Richard Donner, what are you doing?
That's why the movie's so bad.
Troye Sivan apparently plays young James or young Logan or young Wolverine in this. When he's like a kid, when he stabs his dad, not realizing it's his dad because his other dad is dying on the ground, which we'll get to soon. Right, Jeff, are you ready to jump into X-Men Origins Wolverine with me?
No, but we'll do it anyway.
So I'll put it here. Well, let's do it anyway. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Master Podcaster, there's too many of them. What are we going to do?
Movie starts with the Marvel Comics logo. I love the classic comic book flickering Marvel logo they had, for Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, it was pretty good, but the updated logo's not to be beaten.
Oh, that's good. The new MCU one?
Oh, that's so good.
Pretty good. Right, so we cut to Northwest Territories in Canada, or otherwise known as Canada, in 1845. It is a very well-to-do house. Victor is watching over a sick James. Seems to be some tension between James's dad and Victor. So James is sick at the start of this. Like, he never gets sick, obviously, when he's older because he's Wolverine and he has that automatic healing. Doesn't really explain their way sick.
It also doesn't explain why he goes from being sick to really not being sick so quick.
It just happens.
Yeah.
And yeah, no story to tell us this. Victor's dad gets drunk and comes to the house. So James's dad goes out to see what he wants. James can hear arguing, then a bang. A gunshot goes off. James races out of his room to see what has happened. He has that run, like I say, he runs out into that second floor story and looks down. It reminds me of X-Men 2 when Wolverine jumps from the second story when the Academy is under attack from Stryker and his men. Reminiscent of that, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be or not.
Could be.
Yeah, maybe. James's dad has been shot. He dies in James's arms. As Victor's dad tries to explain his actions, James gets so angry he retracts out some bone claws. Interesting how much the actor who played James's dad looked like Hugh Jackman. He kind of did have a look like Hugh Jackman a little bit.
Yeah.
And how much Victor's dad looked like Liev Schreiber.
Coincidence?
I think they made it more like had the setup with the long sideburns and stuff like that. So I don't think he looked that much like Liev. Yeah, as you can tell, enjoyed it so far. Jesus Christ! Oh, this is so damn good.
Is it over yet? Can I go home?
James stabs Victor's dad with his bone claws. As Victor's dad is dying, there is a real soap opera moment. Victor's dad says, "He wasn't your father, James." Bom, bom, bom. I am.
Could you imagine if it actually did that?
Oh, bom, bom, bom.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you. I wasn't going to tell you this, but I'm your real dad. Dun, dun, dun.
Next week on Passions of Love and Passions of Hate. Was that guy on the ground really his dead dad? Or was it this other guy he just killed?
Yep.
So shock horror as James has just killed his real dad for killing his fake dad. Ungrateful mum, who James is sorry, ungrateful mum who James kind of just saved, says to James, "What are you?" It's like, come on now, just save your life. Don't be so mean. Real nice going there, mum. As she causes James to run away, Victor chases James down. James cries to Victor saying he didn't mean it. Victor responds with, "Yes, you did, and he deserved it." I was like, Young kid kind of reminds me of Jake Gyllenhaal too, the way he looks, the one that plays Victor. Victor then tells James that since they're brothers, they need to stick together. Roll to credits with Victor and James running. This starts one of the best opening sequences in comic film history, with Victor and James fighting in different battles over the years, from the Civil War to World War I and II, to Vietnam.
Says the guy who doesn't like the movie.
I'm not a big fan of the movie, but this opening sequence is really well done. I see, apart from Nightcrawler and X-Men 2.
Yeah, to me, that is still the best opening ever.
I'd say it's the best opening. This would be the best opening with credits, because this one actually shows you the credits as it's rolling. And like from battle to battle, the transition's actually really well done.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And a lot of movies these days don't have that intro anymore. They just kind of go straight into the film.
Yeah, the only other one I can think of is Deadpool.
With Spider-Man had it as well for the Maguires, had all the
True, yeah.
Spider-Wings, and X-Men had that thing where it used to go through the genes and stuff like that. Not,
Yeah, that was
not
weird.
gene, but through the DNA.
things,
Yeah. Not through gene. Scott.
He's like, if I'm going to say Gene, I'm going to have to say Scott.
Showing Victor and James side by side right through. You can see James getting more worried as the wars go on. So as it goes on, it seems like Victor gets a taste for it and starts to really enjoy it, and you can see the fear in James's face of, he's losing control. Victor seems to enjoy dealing death a little too much. Victor goes over the deep end when he tries to assault a Vietnamese woman. Other soldiers order him to stand down, but Victor just starts unleashing on them, causing James to back his brother and fight his fellow soldiers back to back. James and Victor are sentenced to a firing death squad. Victor just turns to James and says, "Wake me up when it's over."
Yep, that's pretty cool.
It is. Title comes up, X-Men Origins Wolverine. So that's like, the start of this is like, this is going to be a good ride. It's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be mishandled at all.
Sets you up and sucker punches you in the nads.
Major William Stryker visits Victor and James in a military prison. They're in prison for killing a superior officer. Victor says that they seem to have an issue with authority. Stryker asks them how they survived a firing squad, and James just says, "It tickled." Stryker recruits them for a special team he's creating. The team also includes Wade Wilson, John Wraith, Chris Bradley, David North, otherwise known as Zero,
Agent Zero,
and Fred Dukes, who becomes the Blob. Wade goats Victor into fight pretty much straight away. Talking about like shaving down his claws. The secret mission is taking place in Lagos, Nigeria. The team start to infiltrate a building. Zero, David North, is pretty handy with handguns. Cut to an elevator scene, power gets cut, and Wade starts to piss everyone off with lines like... What, I had to take that big old break?
break in between. Sorry.
It was the next page. I'll do that again, shall I?
Starts to piss.
Cut to an elevator scene, power gets cut, and Wade starts to piss everyone off with lines like, Great! Stuck in an elevator with 5 guys with a high protein diet.
Wade, do you ever shut up? No, sir. Only when I'm asleep.
Chris Bradley gets the elevator going. So the Nigerian soldiers prepare their guns and aim it at the elevator door. Wade's blade skills are awesome. Okay, people are dead. This is the blade, how he like flicks them around. Like they never explain again if he has a mutant power or not. We're not sure.
Yeah. And it's just weird. Like, if he did have a mutant power, they've just given him one that he's never ever had. Not that I'm aware of anyway.
Stryker says how Wade would be the perfect soldier if he didn't have that mouth of his.
Yeah, which is foreshadowing. Ooh.
What could this mean?
The one thing that many people might not actually spot is if you have a look in the background, he does a very, very sarcastic salute.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he's like, whoop. Yeah, as he says, if you didn't have that mouth, you'd be a great soldier, and he does like a really sarcastic looking salute.
This whole mission was so Stryker could obtain adamantium. So I'm guessing Nigerians are in here as they couldn't get Black Panther rights, so they couldn't use the Wakandans.
Yeah.
My guess, because it's an African area, not Wakanda, but somewhere close. The squad take a whole village hostage so that they can get adamantium. James starts to question their motives with looks of concern over his face.
You realise adamantium's not vibranium?
It's not vibranium, no, but it's very similar, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think they have adamantium in Wakanda.
You know, I thought they're just vibranium there. I thought they had both. Maybe because I thought maybe they didn't mention adamantium because they didn't have the X-Men rights at first. That's why I thought maybe they only mentioned vibranium. I don't know. If anyone thinks otherwise, just write into Nobody Does It Bennett at outlook.com or on Nobody Does It Bennett Facebook page or on Twitter.
And single out Greg because he's the muppet that thinks he's got it right.
Yeah, on the Twitter at Nobody Di Bennett. So James starts to question their motives with looks of concerns over his face. When Stryker says to one of the villagers, "Tell me where the adamantium is or people will die," Stryker then orders Victor to kill the village leader. The squad starts to kill villagers. James tries to stop the squad. Even grabs his brother's arm and says, "Don't even think about it. We didn't sign up for this. Put him down." James says he's done. Victor says, "Jimmy, we can't just let you walk away." James throws away his dog tags and walks out on the squad. So that's when Wolverine's had enough. Cut to the Canadian Rockies 6 years later. James is living on top of a mountain with a woman. It's like just a random house on top of a mountain, no one else around.
It's great.
I guess it's good, yeah. But not good for power, or if you had to get like your internet running, it'd probably be pretty crap because there's no internet things around there.
Yeah, but considering the year it's supposed to be done in, surely they wouldn't have internet at that point.
2009, they would have had internet, just not great internet.
No. Isn't it supposed to be like 80s or 90s?
Oh, yeah, sorry, the movie itself is, yeah. Yeah, you're right. I keep forgetting because apart from the starting sequence where they're going through the wars, they never really tell you what years it's set in.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of goes along. James drives to his job as a lumberjack. He's a man. He's a real man's man. He's a man. He's a manly man.
He's a lumberjack and he's okay.
It's like that guy in the paper towels on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Cut to a carnival in Springfield, Ohio.
That's just hilarious. What? You mentioned The Simpsons and then we cut to Springfield.
True, yeah. There you go. True. Cut to a carnival in Springfield, Ohio. Not Springfield from The Simpsons. Trippy seeing a carnival so soon after watching Big for the movie review universe. That's right. I just watched Big recently and then seeing that carnival and seeing this carnival, I'm like, all right, Chris Bradley now runs the booth at a carnival. His trailer has a train set and a whole heap of light bulbs in it that Chris can turn on at will. So he has a job at the carnival, but it was so boring I didn't care about actually mentioning any of that because he's just like, pay $1 and try to turn the light bulb off, and people try and turn it off, but you can't because he's powering the light bulb with his mind.
And nobody bothers to mention also that he's powering the whole carnival.
Yeah.
Which is quite funny. You don't actually notice or realise that until he dies.
Chris has a knock at the door. It's Victor. And Chris looks terrified. Chris says now he has never told anyone about what happened and how he thought it would be Wade who would come knocking at his door. Victor tells Chris that Wade's gone. So this is an indication that Wade Wilson's already dead. Chris, I'm not afraid of you, Victor.
I'm not afraid of death.
How do you know? You've never tried it before. Like, okay, what?
I kind of get that, though. Victor's tried death because he gets shot quite a bit. it kind of makes sense, but yes, I do understand where you're coming from.
This is a weird line. It's almost trying to be clever, but it just seems stupid. James has a nightmare. His girl could have been killed. She could have, because he has a nightmare and leases out his claws, but she only gets a little scratch.
Yeah, not like later on where he stabs Rogue. Oh, that was brutal. Huh?
It is brutal, yeah. Doesn't he also stab Kitty as well?
Shadowcat? Yeah.
In the Days of Future Past, like she's in his mind and he reaches out with his claws next and he stabs her, I think.
Yep.
That's why they have to get Rogue in the Rogue cut of Days of Future Past. There's a whole segment of it cut out where they actually go and get her and she takes over.
Ah, yeah.
Rather than in the original cut, Kitty just carries on even though she's wounded. Yeah, there's actually a whole Rogue cut where she doesn't.
Crazy.
Cut to morning, James is handling wood while smoking a cigar.
He's cut to the morning and James is handling wood.
He sure
Not
is.
the wood you're thinking, but
Yeah.
he's still handling.
Well, he's a lumberjack. That's the kind of wood I mean. God, filthy.
Yeah.
While smoking a cigar. Impressive work.
If for context, if you're listening in, all you're hearing is cut to the morning. James is handling wood while smoking a cigar.
Impressive work. James is visited by William Stryker. Agent Zero still works for him. Stryker shows James a paper showing Chris's death and mentions how Wade was killed before that. Someone is hunting down the old team. Stryker tells James that Victor is safe as far as he knows. This whole Victor is safe thing would have worked better if we hadn't just seen him murder Chris in a prior scene. Stryker, your country needs you. And then James, or Wolverine,
I'm Canadian. In that voice. Nah, I'm Canadian.
Yeah, I like that line. James drives away and goes and picks up his girlfriend, who we find out is a school teacher. Road is blocked off by some guys talking. Guy at bridge seems to get angry really fast over nothing.
I'm still certain that the reason for that is just so you can see Silver Fox's powers.
Yeah, because he goes up to the bridge like, hey guys, do you mind moving out of the way so we can get past? Get out of here. And he's like, your husband's got a smart mouth. For what? Asking you guys to move out of the way so they can go past.
And he doesn't even say it in like a rough or bad way. He's just like, can you guys move? I was like, what the heck's with your attitude, man? What? My attitude? I heard the guy on the bridge is actually called Stinky Diver.
His bad attitude is as bad as his odor.
That's the one.
James's girlfriend puts her hand on James and the other guy's shoulders, and they start to calm down while they touch wood. No. No. And they start to calm down. James and girlfriend drive home. Girlfriend tells James a story about spirits and how Kuwei Kuwatsu and how the moon tricked him out of the spirit world.
Cuckoo Kachu got screwed, man.
That's what I put here. Wow, Cuckoo Kachu got screwed.
Why do you keep calling her the girlfriend and not using her name?
They never really say it much, and I don't really care about it too much.
Ooh, burn.
They say it like Silver Fox like once, don't they?
Yeah, the little kids say Silver Fox. That's it.
And that's the only time you hear it, so I didn't really hear it much, so I just keep calling it girlfriend.
Yeah, but I'm sure she had another name that she went by, not just Silver Fox.
So girlfriend says Kuwei Kuwatsu means the Wolverine.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my god.
Whoa, Wolverine, that's interesting. That sounds like something I've heard before. Cut to the next day. James is at work while his girlfriend is driving the truck. She stops as there is a man in the middle of the road. It's Victor. James notices claw marks on the trees and a dead animal. I think he starts to smell and sniff and realizes it's his brother as well. James then panics and runs, the call sign of Victor, I guess.
He who smelt it, dealt it.
Victor starts scratching up girlfriend's car. James runs to her, but it is too late. James's girlfriend is dead.
Wow, you couldn't have been more monotone. It is too late. James's girlfriend is dead.
It's like a news thing. On the news tonight, one woman is dead as her boyfriend mourns. Cue Tropy scream into the air with body and their arms shot. No! As it flies up. But yeah. Cut to Victor carving a happy face into a table of a bar. Victor, you got insurance in this place? Byron is like, no.
Yeah.
And Victor's like, too bad. James blows off the doors looking for Victor. I thought he did, but he just blows through them, didn't he? I was hoping he blew, like when I first watched it, I must have saw it caught in my eyes. Like, he knocked the doors off the hinges, but no. James opens the doors looking for Victor, wanting vengeance for his girlfriend's death. This leads to a sawmill fight. Victor gets the best of James. Victor even managed to break some of James's bone claws. You see, he stands on and snaps his bone claws. I'm like, oh,
Brutal, man.
was brutal. Cut to James slamming Stryker against the wall, asking why he didn't tell him that Victor was the one doing the killings. Stryker claims not to have known. He goes, I swear on my son's life. It's like, but you're lying, so that's how much you think of your son, isn't it? Stryker tells James that he can give him the tools to beat Victor. Cut to Jurassic Park-like helicopter flight to the secret lab. James is tied to a table. Stryker asks James if he remembered what they were after in Nigeria. Adamantium. Stryker found it and is now going to fill James up. He is.
I'm going to fill you up, boy.
And is now going to fill James up with it. James says how he wants new dog tags and he wants to change them to Wolverine. Wolverine is submerged into water and injected with adamantium. Once the extremely painful procedure is over and James ends up surviving, Wolverine hears through the water that Stryker wants the scientists to wipe his memory, therefore becoming just a weapon to be used. So Wolverine escapes his restraints and goes on a rampage. Time to slice and dice. Nope. Instead, he just cuts out to him, running buck naked out of the lab.
And jumping off a waterfall.
He cuts an X into the door on the way out. Notice that? When he slices through it,
Yeah.
there's an X. Like, yeah. Before jumping off a waterfall. Now that would be cold on the giblets.
Yeah. Those giblets went right back up in there.
Ooh, wouldn't be like the old fresh up ad at all.
Yeah.
Cut to old couple driving in a rural area. They see naked Wolverine run into their barn. Old man goes to investigate with a rifle.
I think there's a naked man in our barn.
Yep. Old man feels sorry for Wolverine and lets him stay in the house. Cut to one of this film's most infamous scenes. Wolverine checking out his metal digital claws in the bathroom. The effects in this scene are pretty bad.
Oh.
Oh, the claws look so digital. You see him actually looking at the mirror of them and they look like something out of Space Jam.
Yeah. It was, oh, God. And the worst part was when he brought both of them out. When he brought the first lot out, you could see it was bad, but it just sort of still balanced it a little bit in the scene. But then he brought out both of them. It was just comical and you're laughing when you should have been going, oh my goodness, that is so amazing.
Doesn't look good.
Nope.
And he also cuts the sink open and stuff like that. Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, cheesy.
He ends up taking the sink out to the old people like, I had a little bit of an accident. So he sliced half the thing off.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I intend to pay for it. No, you don't. They're dead.
They're going to be dead soon, don't worry.
Yeah.
Wolverine eats with the old people. Talks about getting a 48 bike new off the line. Old man says how Wolverine is too young to be able to do that. But he's not. He's old. Old man gives Wolverine the classic Wolverine biker jacket. Old couple gets sniped by Agent Zero. That's a pretty sad scene.
Yeah, that was.
And he calls it in saying Wolverine did it. It's like, it's quite obvious it'll be sniper bullets.
Yeah, but I think it would be because of the fact that they do everything under the rug and in such a dodgy way that nobody had actually checked the scenes.
Or they could say they checked it and it was definitely like just handgun shells or something.
Yeah.
The movie gives you no time to mourn for the nice old couple and goes straight into a bike chase action scene with the bad guys chasing after Wolverine in a helicopter. I like the scene here where Zero's like, shoot his brains out or something. And I was like,
Yeah, let's blow his brains out.
yes, because you've only known him for like 30 years by this stage, or 20 years, Zero. You know that he can't be killed by normal weapons before you filled him with adamantium. And now he's got adamantium. It's like, well, what? He's just trying to anger him? Trying to piss him off?
I think he just didn't really understand what was happening. Like, I think he was more interested in following orders than actually sitting down and understanding what was actually happening.
Another bad guy is in a Hummer with a machine gun mounted to the roof. Wolverine bike slides to the side of the Hummer and cuts through it with his claws. He also cuts the propellers off the helicopter, causing it to crash. Wolverine approaches the crashed helicopter to see a trapped Zero inside. Wolverine picks up the radio as Stryker is trying to contact Zero.
Governor?
Wolverine says, "Wrong answer. After I kill Victor, I'm coming for you. You wanted the animal, Colonel. You got it." Wolverine then says to Zero, "Those were good people back there. Innocent people." Zero says, "Ha ha ha ha. It's funny how innocent people seem to die around you."
Oh, he ain't innocent. He dies, so. Yeah.
That Wolverine then pulls out his claws and sparks them on the ground, causing a petrol line caused by the leaking gas to ignite.
Somehow, without actually bending over. In this whole movie, that's the one thing that doesn't make sense to me.
Out of all things,
Yep.
the one thing.
It's just
I mean,
that
fake
one thing
Deadpool
he's
makes perfect sense.
Yep, exactly. Fake Deadpool, everything else, it just makes perfect sense. But the fact that he somehow ignites this fire without actually bending over to do it, nah.
So maybe he has longer claws. Maybe he can length them out if he wants to.
But if that was the case, why have you never seen it ever?
Because reasons. It's a movie.
Yeah, not just movie, but movies. Multiple, man.
It blows up the helicopter with Wolverine slowly walking away. So cheesy.
Explosions while walking away.
Scientists tell Stryker the only way to stop Wolverine is by using an adamantium bullet. That's what I say here, but then later on it doesn't actually stop him. It just kind of takes away his memories.
Yeah, which is in itself weird.
Right, cut to Scott Summers in his high school class. Seems to be struggling to concentrate. Teacher asks him to remove his glasses. When he tells the teacher he needs them as he has a headache, she makes him stay after school for detention. Why didn't he just say he had an eye condition? Because he does. He's not lying. He has an eye condition that would kill everyone.
Yeah.
It's something maybe the parents could say, my son kind of has lasers in his eyes, so if you make him take his glasses off, you're probably going to die.
Yeah.
Cut to Wolverine talking to John Wraith. Wraith says how the team ended up rounding up mutants and how Victor felt abandoned by Logan leaving, or James, or Wolverine, whatever name you want to go with. Wolverine sees Frank Dukes. He is now the Blob. Fred, sorry, not Frank. Wolverine sees Fred Dukes. He is now the Blob. Wolverine keeps making fat jokes and demanding that Dukes tells him where Victor is. Wolverine then calls him Bub, and Dukes thinks he says Blob. This leads to a Wolverine versus Dukes boxing match.
I felt like that was just jammed in there just so that they could say, hey, look, this is Blob. Because otherwise, that's pretty much the only time that they say Fred Dukes is Blob.
It's a waste of a character. He's like one scene at the start, and then he's in this just so they could fill up time. Because they could have had this whole thing where they just interrogate him first off, because he puts his claws up through his boxing glove. Why didn't he do that straight away?
Yeah, and he basically kills him off screen. Well, not Wolverine, but Sabretooth kills him off screen.
Victor kills him later. Yeah. This leads to a Wolverine versus Dukes boxing match. Wolverine gets smacked around a bit until he headbutts Wolverine. So, he hits him and he's like, ooh.
And Wolverine's like, oh, I know how to get him now.
Once Wolverine takes down Dukes, he demands to know where Victor is. I do like the claws coming through the boxing glove. Cut to Scott Summers High School, where Victor is lurking outside like a creep. She's out there with the claws like,
Yeah, I'm gonna get ya.
Victor chases Scott through the school. I do like the shots of Victor running along the walls.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And the shot of Scott scorching his beams through the school.
Yeah.
I like that shot too.
Yep, that skull is gonna need some readjustments.
Yeah. And that's why he shouldn't take his glasses off, man. But in the end, Scott is caught. Wolverine finds out from Dukes that Victor and Stryker were working together all along. The island is where Stryker takes mutants after Victor catches them. Stryker then experiments on them. Wolverine, he killed her so that I would let him put adamantium in me. That's what he says. I keep that. He killed her. More like Batman. He killed her so that I would let them put adamantium in me. Dukes doesn't know where the island is, but he does know how to find someone who once escaped from it. Remy LeBeau, aka Gambit. Stryker is apparently taking mutant powers to combine them with others. Wolverine and Wraith go off to find Gambit. They end up on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. They end up
you're the one telling the story.
They end up on Bourbon Street in New Orleans.
That'll do.
They find Gambit. Wraith goes out to cover the back alley. Wraith runs into Victor. Victor says how he just killed Dukes. Victor ends up ripping out Wraith's heart. I thought it was his heart, but it's the spine, isn't it?
Yeah, that's his spot. He doesn't rip it out. He just snaps it while it's still in there. You hear it snap.
Victor ends up grabbing Wraith's spine.
And snap.
Victor says, I can feel your spine, Johnny. That's funny. Didn't know you had one. So, oh, that's cruel just to end it with there. And then Shang Tsung was in that same alley and he goes, finish him.
Fatality.
It probably was this time. It was because he didn't actually hit him, did he? Yeah, actually was a flawless victory. Gambit ends up throwing cards at Wolverine and knocking him through a wall. When Wolverine starts to get up, he can see Victor collecting a sample of Rafe's body.
And no, actually, the sample's collected before he gets up.
He does, so he's on the ground.
All he sees is Victor over Wraith's body.
Yeah, as he comes to, he can kind of see, Victor over his body. He's already collected the sample, let's say,
Yeah, he doesn't see that part. He just sees
him over at the body. Gambit approaches Wolverine from behind, saying how he's never going back to the island. Wolverine just knocks him out with one elbow to the face.
Yeah, BAM!
Oh, it's brutal. Adamantium elbow to the face would hurt. Apparently only knocks you out for like a minute.
Yeah.
But for me, I'd be up for days.
Yeah. It wouldn't hurt except for, in this movie where it doesn't need to hurt that much.
Then starts fighting his brother. This time Wolverine gets the best of Victor and is about to kill him when Gambit comes back. He's woken up again and creates a massive explosion, knocking Wolverine and Victor down. This lets Victor run away, while Gambit fights Wolverine. Wolverine breaks Gambit's staff in two with one of his claw blades. He then destroys the fire escape to take Gambit down. Wolverine gets Gambit to take him to the island. So that bit where he's like just slicing down the fire escape. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
There are some good things in here. Like I thought Rafe, before he died, teleporting around was cool, but didn't you do much with it?
Yeah, I know.
Cut to Stryker looking in on his son. So you see his son's frozen body. And then the General's like, I know your son's here. I was like, well, he was just looking at him in this exact scene, General. So yeah, he's looking on his son who has been frozen for some reason.
Yeah.
General talks to Stryker. Talks about how the military are stopping Stryker's program. As they're talking, the General pulls a sheet down off an experiment. It's Wade's body.
I don't think they ever once say that that's actually his son. No. We know it's his, but I don't think at any point in time he says it, so that's why...
The military guy knows about it.
Yeah, the military guy didn't say, oh, that's your son right there, because nobody actually says it, so...
True. It's Wade's body. His mouth is sewn shut. Stryker stabs the General, so I guess the program is still going?
Yeah. Stabby.
I don't like an old stab. Keep a program going. Gambit and Wolverine fly to the island in a crappy-looking plane. Wolverine jumps out into the water. Stryker has almost created a secret mutant weapon that will respond to his commands. Wolverine sees a cage of prisoners. Scott has been loaded into a cage. Then Wolverine comes into a room where Stryker is having the scientists work on the experiment. Wolverine asks why he wanted him back. Stryker said he needed Wolverine's powers for the pool. The dead pool. Oh God, please no. God, please no.
No. Nope. Nope. No.
Cut to gif of Alphys. But wait, the girlfriend isn't dead. She was a pawn used to get Wolverine to come back. Girlfriend faked her own death. Her powers are mind control through touch. She used her powers to seduce Wolverine.
I don't think she did.
Wolverine walks away.
Because she couldn't do it to Sabretooth, so I think the reason she couldn't do it to Sabretooth is the same reason she couldn't do it to Wolverine, surely.
She just kind of made him fall for her.
Yeah, I think it was just the actual falling in love part was genuine, and that she was just supposed to be like keeping him in line for Stryker.
Wolverine walks away. Girlfriend wants her sister freed as promised. Stryker reneges on that promise. Then Victor shows up, upset that Stryker let Wolverine go. He also wants Stryker to live up to his promise to fill up Victor with adamantium too. I want some adamantium too. Stryker reneges on this deal as well, claiming that Victor would not survive the procedure. He goes, I can take anything, he could. And he's like, no, you couldn't. Nah, you'd die.
You're a little wussy bag.
You're a wussy bag that would die, alright? Girlfriend comes to the realization that Stryker is using them. Victor grabs her by the throat, which causes her to scream. This gets the attention of Wolverine. Wolverine and Victor fight, crashing through windows, falling to the ground, etc. Wolverine decides not to kill Victor, but he does knock him out. Girlfriend asks Wolverine to help her free her sister. Stryker launches his experiment. That's so exciting. That was a line from Blade.
Launch Order 66.
Order 66. Wolverine does the old run with both arms out, slicing the cages as he goes to free the prisoners, including Girlfriend's sister. As they're running to escape, Fake Paul shows up. Oh, how they got this wrong.
So very, very, very wrong.
Wolverine and Fake Paul fight. Fake Paul has Wolverine's healing ability.
And teleportation.
That's later on though, isn't it? That's when he climbs the thing later on. Prisoners use their abilities to escape, while girlfriend stays. She is wounded and will die shortly. Fake Paul and Wolverine fight up on top of a nuclear cylinder. Fake Paul and Wolverine are falling. Victor saves Wolverine. So when Wolverine climbs the top of that cylinder, it's like, come and get me. And then that's when you find out that Fake Paul has teleportation.
I kind of feel bad that we're calling her girlfriend throughout the whole thing. It's like, it's really, it just, I don't know why, but it's this little voice nagging in the back of my head saying, Me Too movement's going to kick your ass.
It's just because they don't really give her much of a name in this, and that's all she is. She's just his girlfriend. She has no other characterization other than it's his girlfriend who is trying to save her sister, and that's the only character development you get. That's why I'm calling her girlfriend. Not to put anyone down, just because she's not fleshed out at all, and the only time that you ever hear a name for her pretty much is towards the end. Also, the little kids calling her Silver Fox.
Yeah. I wish it was really weird. So weird. Little kids going, thanks, Silver Fox. It's like, what? You don't call me that.
Fake Paul and Wolverine fight up on top of a nuclear cylinder. Fake Paul and Wolverine are falling. Victor saves Wolverine. Victor says, nobody kills you but me. Victor and Wolverine team up against Fake Paul. Back to back, once again. Fake Paul has a lot of abilities. Teleporting, heat vision / Octo Blast.
Yeah, I think the Octoblast, or the whatever it is, I can't actually remember the correct term for it now. Optic blast, that's what it was. I think that it's one of those ones that if it's constantly used, yes, it will heat something up.
Okay, so it's a longer and more powerful version of a heat vision.
Yeah, except for, like, if it's just used as a one-off, I don't think it heats things up. Do you know what I mean? I think the longer it goes, yes. When you look at other times he's used it, it doesn't seem to have that sort of effect of like it's heated something. It just looks like it's blasted something.
He also has blades, but then Wolverine uses his heated claws, courtesy of Fake Paul's Optic Blast. I put heat vision again, but I changed it to Optic Blast to cut Fake Paul's head off like a hot knife through butter.
Whew, was it ever.
Scott is leading the prisoners out, even though he can't see. Someone is helping him lead him to safety. Stryker loads a revolver with adamantium bullets. Stryker, his brain will heal, but his memories won't grow back.
Which makes no sense, but okay.
Cut to Wolverine and Victor. Wolverine says that this doesn't change anything. Wolverine is about to get crushed by a big piece of cylinder when Gambit, out of nowhere, chops the bit in half to save Wolverine. Where have you been? Where have you been, Gambit?
I've been on this island the whole time, but I thought I would come in at the last minute to save you.
Gambit's like, you missed me? I was like,
Nope.
no, Gambit. No, we didn't.
Not even in the slightest.
I kind of forgot you existed until this point. Wolverine hears girlfriend calling out to him. She is still slowly dying. They kiss to try and bring back that love story. But no, just seems forced at this part of the film.
I thought it felt to me like it was just closing it off. Like it was saying, all right, that's the end of the love.
Wolverine is carrying girlfriend in the dawn horizon, just like a cheesy movie would. Is that walking away with the girlfriend in the hand into the dawn horizon?
Into the sunset.
The sunset or sunrise?
Ooh, good question.
One of the two.
Yep.
Only for Stryker to shoot Wolverine. Wolverine gets angry and charges Stryker, only for Stryker to finally hit Wolverine in the head. Then another one, execution style. Yeah, that was brutal when he's on the ground, execution style.
Sayonara.
Stryker then goes to kill girlfriend, but she grabs his leg. It's like, why did he get so close? I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
she grabs his leg, making him point his gun at himself. And girlfriend says, I should make you pull the trigger, but that would make us no better than you. Throw the gun away. Walk until your feet bleed. And then keep walking. The prisoners find their way out to a helicopter that is waiting for them. There is a man also there, standing, waiting for them. It is Professor X, but a de-aged Patrick Stewart. Unfortunately, when this movie came out, the de-aging effects were not all perfected,
It was so creepy.
leading to Professor X to look utterly terrifying.
Like they stretched his face over a freaking mannequin or something.
So they got an iron out, there's
Yeah.
no more wrinkles. Oh, it's kind of like there's slow motion faces when someone's in a boxing match and a slow mo and there's the vibrations through the face. It kind of looks like that,
Yeah,
but
a
like
little bit.
still, yeah, like someone just punched him in the face. Wolverine starts to heal and wakes up. He looks at his tags. It says Logan and Wolverine. Gambit meets back up with Wolverine after like trying to go save the kids, but they were already been saved by creepy Professor X, so he runs back to Wolverine. But now Wolverine has no memories. He interrogates Gambit and asks Gambit what his name is. Gambit tells him his name is Logan, since that is the only name Gambit knew him by. Wolverine sees girlfriend's dead body, but now has no memory of her. Gambit and Wolverine split up. Zoom out to landscape shot of surrounding area. I got into the cutscenes. Stryker is still walking until the military stop him. He is wanted for the questioning for the murder of the general that he, murdered. But he stops, and they so it keeps stopping, and they went, "Oh, general." He's like, "Oh, what? I'll just stop."
Yeah.
No one forced him to stop. You think they'd have to actually stop him physically, but they don't. But you can see his shoes are all munted, so he's been walking for a while. That or he's got really bad shoes on, one or the other. Then there's another second end of credit sequence.
No, there isn't.
There isn't. Cut to the end. Stop! Cut to the end of the credits, and the wreckage of the island. Fake Paul is pulling himself together, literally. It ends with him saying, "Shh."
This movie's as bad as you think it is.
Showing that his mouth is now unstitched. End of movie. ... Finally.
Yay! We can go home now.
So, have you got any thoughts you still want to say about X-Men Origins, Jeff? While we're here before we go into the ratings?
Yeah, so I felt that going through it again, they didn't flush out the characters like they should have. They kind of rushed it a bit, and I really felt like they shouldn't have killed most of the characters that they did. He had all these mutants trapped at the end. Why couldn't he just do the same for the others? Why did he have to kill them?
And why did he kill ones that did nothing for most of the film just to get killed straight away? Like, why not give them a cool action scene first? Like, the start could have been 3 times longer and showed off all their powers better.
Yeah.
But it didn't. It was just a quick
in and out. Didn't give you time to really feel anything for the characters. Like Bradley, when he died, it's just like, okay, yep, he's dead. Don't care.
Don't care. Yeah, he didn't do much. He just...
And don't get me wrong, the actor's a good actor.
Well, Dominic Monaghan was great in Lord of the Rings.
And Lost. And the powers were they were pretty interesting. He was the one controlling the plane that they were in. Yeah. But again, they didn't flush out his character enough for you to really care that he died.
That's true. He was just there for a couple minutes and dead after a couple minutes.
And I think that's probably why I liked John Wraith as much as I did, because he was slightly more flushed out than...
But they still didn't do enough with him.
No. Oh, definitely not. No.
Blob had one scene as Blob, and the rest of the time he was just a skinny guy who blew up tanks.
Yeah, blew up one tank by punching it.
What a waste.
Yep.
Fair enough. I got X-Men Origins Wolverine was an okay movie when it came out for me. Not great, but okay. Time has not been great to this film, however, as I feel it's a lackluster story, aged CGI effects, and the fact that we now have a truer version of Deadpool on screen make it pretty bad.
I think it didn't help that, like, when we first watched this movie, we were like, oh, yeah, oh, that, yep. And now, because we've seen it, because we've gone back to it, we were laughing. When he took the claws out, we were just laughing.
Hasn't been kind. There are some positives. I think Hugh Jackman is still pretty good, especially with what he had to work with. And Liev Schreiber's version of Victor Sabretooth is still the best one to hit the big screen so far.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Victor, his Sabretooth was just amazing. Yes, we've only had 2, but it was still, for what it was still really good.
The opening sequence of Wolverine and Sabretooth transitioning from battle to battle is still one of my favourite opening sequences in a comic book film. So that one's still another positive.
I want to say his last name's Creed. Is that right? Victor Creed?
Possibly, because they don't give us the things in the credits there. They just give us the first names. So, what score will I be giving this? Let's find out.
What score will we be giving this, or just you?
This, us, because we're going to go into our ratings, sir.
Yeah, but you said, will I? So
what score will we be giving it? Let's find out. There you go. You happy now? Happy, champ?
I was never happy. Thank you for giving me that.
Thank you, Star Wars Family Guy.
Nobody does it better.
Right, sir. So, let's start with the first category. Category 1. How entertaining is the film for you, sir, out of a 5-star?
After actually going through the review, I've actually dropped my rating.
Okay.
And it's 2.5 stars. It was 3.5 stars, but going through and picking it out in bits, I was just like, oh. No, I can't. No, 2.5.
Fair enough. I've given it a 2. I think it was entertaining, not really, because the action sequences weren't very long and they weren't that exciting. It might be partly because I'm used to more like MCU kind of long battles and better battles, but going back to it, like I say, it hasn't been kind going back to it after seeing what they can do now in the MCU and comparing it with this. This is kind of lackluster and kind of boring.
Yeah.
Category 2, Jeff. How intentional is the quality of the film? What I mean by that is, do you think it was like deliberately bad, or they're trying to be serious and this came off as bad? That's what I mean by how intentional.
I would say 2. Yeah. Just for... It didn't feel like they were trying to be intentionally bad. Yeah. So...
Yeah, I think so too. I've given it a 2 as well because I think they're trying to be serious. They use CGI, I think, a little bit too much, and it hasn't paid off. It looks pretty average. And the story itself, was trying to be this epic kind of origin story, and it was just a flat action film, pretty much. And the action that was in it was meh.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, so how much do you think this movie affected the franchise?
2. Because if you look at the fact that we've still got Logan, it can't have affected it that much, or you wouldn't have had Logan.
Yeah, it's true. So I've given it a 3. I think it didn't affect it badly, it didn't affect it well. It was just middle. It was just there. It was a movie that came out, and they just, it didn't really affect anything going forward. It just may have showed you what you're kind of going to get in for the next few movies, but I don't think it's the reason why the rest of them were as average as they were. I think some of them are pretty good too. Days of Future Past was one of the best X-Men movies ever, and that came out after this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, quality of casting. What have you given this, sir?
5.
Giving it 5.
Yeah, because I really enjoyed Liv and Hugh Jackman and Will.i.am, and also Danny Houston as William Stryker was a good choice as well. I felt like that him and Logan played off of each other really well.
I didn't like him as much as Brian Cox. I thought Brian Cox in X-Men 2 was a lot better as Stryker. So I've given the casting 3 because I liked Hugh Jackman. I thought Liev Schreiber was really good. I thought the rest of the cast were meh for me.
Yeah, I think Agent Zero's portrayal in it was pretty meh. Yeah. Not so much the actor. I think the actor's pretty good in most of the other movies I've seen him in, but Agent Zero was just...
Cocky, boring character. But yeah, so 3 because of Hugh Jackman for Liev Schreiber. All right, so would you watch it again? What we're going 1 to be absolutely no, 5 to be definitely watch it again.
3.5 being if I'm drunk enough, sure. Nah, I would put 3.5 just because, yes, it was bad, but if it's given enough time, I can watch it again the whole way through without wanting to exit stage left.
Fair enough. So we'll go through what gone through. So how entertaining was the film? You gave it 2.5. I gave it 2. How intentional was the quality? I gave it 2. You gave it 2. How much does it affect the franchise? I gave it 3. You gave it 2. Quality of casting, you gave it 5, and I gave it 3. And would you watch it again? I gave it 2, because I don't think I actually said that. I said,
no, you didn't.
I give it 2 because it was, for me, it's probably not one I want to watch again. I'll only watch it again if I have to, but I don't think I'd go to my way to watch it again.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't either. But if somebody said, hey, it's just to bring back the old memories, let's have a watch of this, I'd go, yeah, okay, why not?
Fair enough. That's where you and I differ, because I don't think I'll watch this ever again.
The thing is, though, that if you think about it in this way, by watching it again, it allows you to see just how good the future movies will be. Sometimes when you watch one movie, you go, yeah, okay, it's not too bad. But then you go back and watch something like this, and you start to see the good bits in the other movie.
It can make you appreciate the other ones more.
Yeah. It can make you see where they went wrong in this one and where they've gone right in the other ones.
Thanks to your 5 stars on the acting, you have actually pushed it over the 50% mark, so it's gotten 27 out of 50 stars.
Cool.
So that's a reasonable start for a worst of the worst. I don't think he'll be bottom for long, or top of the worst for long, because next time on Worst of the Worst, we're going to be reviewing Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I imagine that's going to be...
Oh, so bad.
No spoilers, but that one's going to have an interesting score.
Yeah, I would say so.
Mom, you're alive. Too bad you will be dead. That would be interesting. Right, so yeah, 27 out of 50 is our score for this. With you giving it 15, me giving it 12.
Oh, okay. Not bad. Basically, I had to give the quality of the casting 5 because with Liv Schreiber and Hugh Jackman and the other two that I've mentioned, it was good enough casting wise. I'm not talking about, the whole movie wise, but casting wise, they were good choices.
No, that's fair enough. And so it's your opinion. I can't tell you you're wrong, sir. Absolutely. If you would like to write into the show, who knows, we might read it out on air. You can go to Nobody Does It Bennett Facebook page, or you can hit us up on the Twitter at NobodyDIBennett. You can also email us at nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com. That's Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's. That's all the time we have today. Jeff, thank you for coming along.
You're most welcome, and I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, it should be fun. So thank you for coming along. And just remember, some others may do it better, but nobody does it Bennett. Take care. Bye.
It's the end of the show, and now it's time to go. Don't be sad, just be glad. Then nobody does it Bennett.